Hey guys, welcome back to another video over here on the Chinese Zodiac and horoscopes. Today we're going to be doing a reading for you guys born in the year of the Ox. However, we're going to be doing something slightly different today. Today I am going to be doing a 9-card spread, which is 6 cards more than I would usually do. Now, I would usually do this on Patreon, but I really want to explore more into the depth of 9 cards rather than 3, because I want to not only practice more with these cards, but I also want to see how far we can go with them. As I've said before, this is almost experimental, and I do believe that this is the only channel of readings like this that I know of, which is very individualistic, very unique, and I really want to sort of practice and focus on that. And I think the only way I can do this is if I do these 9-card spreads publicly for free on YouTube, rather than keep them to a very small select few people. However, if you would like to support me on Patreon, you can sign up on Patreon by using the link below. However, you don't have to, because the content on there will be non-existent. It's just a way to show support, because this does take a lot of time to do. And that leads me to my next point, where because I'll be doing a 9-card spread, the length of the videos will be longer. This will probably be the longest one, because obviously I'm explaining it now, whereas the future ones will be shorter, because I won't have to explain this every time. However, I am going to go from doing it weekly to doing it monthly. So this will be technically the beginning of May's reading, and then we're going to come back at the beginning of June and do a reading then for June with the 9-card spread, rather than 9 cards for each week, because it would just be too much. It's just too time consuming, and I'm already finding that with everything else that I'm doing and everything else that's going on, it's hard to do them weekly. So this way I'm hoping to take the pressure off myself, so I still enjoy it. I don't want it to become a chore, because I really do enjoy it and I want to keep doing it. And it also means that I can explore more depths to the cards. And I do really love the fact that although it started off very experimental, and this will be very experimental as well, so you're going to have to bear with me with the 9 cards. I love the fact that so many people are resonating with their readings, and people reach out and they message me, or they speak to me, or they leave comments, and they do say how it is quite spot on for whatever situation that they're going through, which is great. So now I want to explore more, and I want to see if we can use it for more, for other things, basically. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a 9-card spread. This is the second one I've done, so I have done the rats already. So I have got a little bit of practice, but because this is the first one, I'm not quite sure if it's even possible, but we're going to give it a good go. So the idea is that we're going to basically shuffle these cards up pretty much the same as we would any other time. The only difference is instead of picking 3, we're going to pick 9. Now, I do realise that with the 9-card spread, there's more possibility that you are going to get the same cards as other signs on other readings. However, the good thing about this, and the unique thing about it, is it's done with the compatibility in mind, rather than what the cards actually are, if that makes sense. Each sign has a compatibility with the cards, so even if every single sign had exactly the same cards, which has never happened actually, despite my shuffling, it will always be different. And that's what I love about this. And of course, you've got the negative and the positive in there, just to mix it up even more and make it that little bit more unique, which I absolutely love. I find it fantastic. But it's going to be the same principle as always. We're going to shuffle these up, eyes closed, and stop. Let's stop about there. And then we're going to take 3, as we normally would. 1 from the bottom, 1 from the middle, 1 from the top. What have we got? Okay, so we've got 3 negatives here. That's a shame to start with, but as I've said before, black isn't always an attack. But this is your general monthly sort of forecast, if you like, just in general. So if you don't enjoy the extra 6 cards and it's just too boring or too much and you're just not fussed, you can cut it off after that, because this will be like the normal weekly one, if you like. So that is that. So we're going to put those there for now, and then basically we're going to pick another 3. And we're going to close those eyes. We're going to shuffle these up again. We're going to move them all around, shuffle them up and down, and then we are going to stop about there. And we're going to take that one from the bottom. We're going to take that one from the middle. We're going to take that one from the top. What have we got? And we've got two positives and a negative. So again, negatives are outweighing the positive, but it's the same principle. Black isn't always an attack and white isn't always all right. It's the compatibility we're looking for. And this time what we're looking for is a sort of love, romantic, relationshipy kind of reading. It's more of a relationshipy type situation. So we're going to focus more on the love life side of things rather than just general anything. It will be specifically for that love life element. And then we're going to take the cards again. We're going to shuffle them up and down. We're going to move them all around. And we are going to pick another 3. Because 3 3s are 9. So let's stop about there. And we're going to take that one from the bottom. We're going to take that one from the middle. We're going to take that one from the top. What have we got? Okay, so we've got a black, white, black. A lot of blacks in this spread. But again, same principle. Black isn't always an attack. White isn't always all right. But what we are looking for here is the financial sort of messages or advice or sort of pre-warnings or premonitions, if you like. Basically, we're going to be focusing on financing, money, career, jobs, and basically see what the cards say in regards to that. That's kind of the gist. Let's get on with it, shall we? I'm going to move these 6 down just for the sake of the camera because it just saves with the editing. So we are going to focus on these 3 first for the general reading. So let's flip this one over to start us off with. Black is not always an attack. That is the snake. The snake is in your affinity triangle. This is a good card for an ox person. This is very compatible. Same affinity triangle of thinkers. Right now, you need to stop looking at decisions with a long-term view. Okay, yes, you believe in investing your efforts where you have an opportunity to grow and you like to put focus and sort of attention to things that are going to come with long-term gains so that your future or that sort of return is significant or necessary. But you need to kind of stop investing so much of that ideology into whatever it is that may not require a long-term view. Like, you can't treat everything the same way as everything else. Not everything can be put into a pigeonhole and be like, this is how it is, this is what I want it to be. Not everything is black and white. So I think you're being very, I want to say, narrow-minded a little bit. That black snake would suggest that our thinking cap is a little bit crooked, and you're a thinker yourself. So this could be quite sort of, I'd say, problematic for an ox person that might not be thinking straight. And you might not like to hear it. It might offend you a little bit, but tough titties, because we don't do saving people's feelings here. We do what the cards are telling us to do. We speak the card truth, the zodiac truth. And the truth of it is that negative snake is not allowing you to think thoroughly. It's not allowing you to have that good mind that an ox person would have. Why? We don't know right at this moment in time, because the snake is compatible with you. And I don't think there's a reason why you shouldn't put long-term effort or thoughts of long-term stuff into this, because maybe it's not long-term, maybe it's only temporary. So putting in that effort thinking that it's going to be there forever might not be the best move forward. It may not be that advisable, let's say. We then got the black dragon coming in, which is interesting because this duo here are the karmic signs, the dragon and the snake, both of which are karmic. So we are dealing with a lot of karmic energy for May. There's going to be some turmoil, a bit of conflict, not because the dragon is your conflict card, because it's not. The dragon and the ox can be very workable, they can get along, they can be very compatible with respects. Both of them have their kind of, let's just say they have their shit together, so they can work quite well together. But again, we're seeing this black dragon, which is the negative aspects of this, which means it's a doer that's not doing. It's like a reverse, like in tarot reading you get reverse cards. This is like that, kind of. It's not, but we can see it as that in this example, with a white dragon would be doing, a black dragon is not doing. So we're not thinking straight, so therefore we're not doing as efficiently as we usually would. So you're going to become either very, very stubborn with this and get very ragey, angry with it, frustrated with it, which could end up just breaking the whole thing down anyway and smashing it to pieces. Not necessarily the best way to approach it, but I mean, it solves the problem. If you smash it to pieces, then you don't have to work on it anymore. If you just throw it away, then problem solved, right? So you could do that, but let's just play devil's advocate for a second, where you're not thinking correctly for the right task at hand here. So throwing it away is not necessarily the correct thing to do in this example. We need to approach it differently. We need to approach it from a different angle. We need to see it as not so much as a door that needs to be kicked in or smashed through, but more a cryptic sort of challenge where we just need to find out where the key is. And that should be your kind of go-to thing, to kind of figure out where the key is, rather than just kick down the door. I think you're going to find it more rewarding to find the key, and a lot less effort just looking under the mat or the flower pot, rather than smashing through the door to gain entry. Again, not necessarily the best advice, not necessarily something that you should be looking at doing. You want to avoid conflicts if you can. You don't need the karmic energy to start giving its justice to you, because sometimes karmic cards, they speak of karmic energy, but that's not your karma. It's not for you to be punished or for you to be rewarded. Sometimes it's just those around you. Sometimes you're the deliverer of it. Sometimes you're the catalyst for it. Sometimes you are just there, just at the right place at the right time. We don't need to bring in this negative karmic energy into your sort of space. It's not necessarily the right thing to do. So again, as karmic law would dictate, you do good things happen. Find the key, unlock the door, nothing's broken. You want to do bad stuff happens. Kick that door in, make a mess, smash it up, break it in that. It's going to cause more problems as we move forward, and that is what we want to avoid. We want to avoid that. The black dog. We've got a black dog, which is, again, is a blockage somewhere. I hope you're all right, my lovely ox friends. The dog is a communicator, a talker, somebody that is quite apt at being able to communicate. Looks like we're shutting down on that as well. So not only are we shutting down on, doing stuff and being productive, but we're also shutting down on talking about it and expressing why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. You must be going through quite a heavy kind of time at the moment for whatever reason, very stressful. No wonder you're just tempted to kick the door down. It's almost like the key's under the mat, but some buggers super glued it to the floor. So it's not just as simple as lifting the mat up. Yeah, you're getting very frustrated, probably why you're not thinking straight. There's too much going on. You're probably finding yourself overstimulated, maybe. Too much, too quickly, too loudly, just all being thrown at you all at once. Ox people aren't necessarily born to juggle. You're not necessarily jugglers, if you like. It's more of a kind of tackle that task and put in 110% to get it done, and then and then move on to the next task in an order that you've written on a list, which you stick to with discipline, regimentally. So you don't necessarily juggle from one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. So I think this is kind of like a shutdown mode for you. It's a shutdown mode where all the eggs are in one basket, and that could, in some ways, cause you a bit of disruption or upset, if you like, further down the road. Again, focusing on things that aren't necessarily long term, focusing on things like, if you're going to put this in a future setting, of course you're going to start getting annoyed because you're going to think this is now what it's going to be like for the foreseeable. But at any given time, that could change, because I do feel that this is temporary. This is something temporary, though that can be open to interpretation, because temporary just means not forever. I don't think there is a time frame on temporary. It just means that it's temporary, which means this could go on for days, a couple of weeks, a month, maybe years or so, but it won't be forever. But we'll find out, won't we, next time when we come back and do that in June. So we'll pick up basically in June from there with another 3 cards for your general reading. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next 3, which is this one, and this one. Just move those down there and put those in the middle here, like that. There we go. So we've got 2 positives and a black. We're looking at the romantic element, the love aspect of things. So not the general stuff that we've just been talking about and discussing, that kind of looking forward or looking towards a future thing that might not be in the future. Don't necessarily know if that's got anything to do with romance or relationships. However, these 3 cards will. So we're going to start off straight away with the white one. We've got the horse card. That's quite a good card, actually. Maybe not necessarily for an ox generally, because relations between a horse and an ox are very moderate. Again, quite temporary, actually. Yeah, nothing can really last or be kind of permanent in this sort of relationship. So maybe that's what we're now seeing. Maybe the relationship that you're in isn't necessarily made for you. It might not be the most compatible. Not to say it's wrong. It just means more hard work is needed. It means that there's more hard work to do, which may make it frustrating or make you agitated at times. That horse, of course, is in the positive, so we are looking at it being forward. We are looking at it moving forward. That doesn't necessarily mean it's moving forward in a good way, or as it would seem is a good way, because it's all perspective, don't forget. So that horse could be moving you towards a relationship breakup, but it will be a good thing long term for what will happen after. This is, again, open to interpretation. I think rejection is one thing that doesn't necessarily phase ox people so much, because you're so reliant on yourself. Like, you're very capable of being in your own company, and a lot of ox people actually choose to be single, and a lot of ox people I know are single because they are very introverted. They're very capable of solitude. In fact, they thrive in solitude. And I think, even if whatever relationship you have, or if you don't have any relationship, the situation you're in right now is a temporary one, and you will get back on track with it. It will come all around full circle, and you will make sense of this. And I think that's what's messing with your head a little bit, is that you're trying to make sense of something. Like, how is this going to help me in 5 years? Or where will this put us in 5 years? No, stop thinking like that, because there's no need for a 5-year plan. There's no need for a plan at all. If it happens, it will happen naturally. If it doesn't, you will know. And as an ox person, you probably won't stand for it, and you will remove yourself rather than subject yourself to it. So we will come out of this. I think it's the security kind of thing, or not security, that's probably the wrong word. It's the consistency of things, the The kind of, like, you like your feet firmly planted on the ground. You like to know where you are. You're not in it for the short term. So if this is something short term, you want to know. You want to know because you want to move on from this as quickly and efficiently as you can. Oh, look at this. The dragon's coming back around. Look at that. The white dragon's coming back into play, which means the karmic energy is still here. We've got this karmic energy still floating about, and it is affecting you in a positive way in a relationship. Again, open to interpretation and perspective, because what is positive or seen as positive in a universal sense may not be your own individual perspective at that time of being subjected to it, until you have time to reflect on it and realize that it was supposed to be that way for a reason. Like if I were to say now, think of a relationship 10 years ago that may have broken down, or you may have broken up, and at the time it was devastating. However, now 10 years later, you're married to someone else who was the love of your life, and you would never have been able to get to that place unless you had broken up in that relationship. It's very similar at this point now. If you are going through a breakup or a difficult sort of relationship situation, the positive karma could be a simple case of removing the relationship, even if it hurts, just so that the future can be realigned and put you back on your path and put you on a more steady ship than this rocky relationship that you have been sort of used to. As I've said before, previously, the dragon and the ox have a very workable relationship. So maybe your relationship isn't breaking down. Maybe it's more a case of that extra work. You know, the horse can make it work with the ox. The dragon can make it work with the ox. We can make it work, but that's what it will be. It will be work. And maybe that person is worth it. Maybe that person is worth it. Again, this happens, you know, this can happen for single people as well. You may be tempted to ask that person out, or you know, go on that date with somebody that's asked you, or reach out for that companionship in other means. You know, you may be thinking about it, you may want that, or think you want that, or it could, you know, be something that you might believe is the best thing for you. But however, you know, we're looking at what you think is best for you and what is actually best for you, and they can be conflicting things. So you may think it could be the best thing for you, but being rejected, being let down, being told, oh, I'll be there at 6, and then they turn up at, you know, 9, and you've already gone home, you've eaten, you've watched a film by yourself, and then went home, you did the date by yourself, which you're more than capable of doing. You may just find that it's not worth the hassle or the extra work. You might find it's not worth it because they're not worth it, because you haven't got that relationship that you would have if you've married someone that you've fallen in love with. They might be worth that extra work. They might be worth it. You need to figure out if it is worth the extra work. Is it worth you putting in that work to make this work? If you put in that work and you are, I'd say, you know, worthy of it and you deserve it, then that relationship will probably be harmonious and it will be fine. If you don't put in the work, if you find that it's not worth it, the universe will remove it for you and stop wasting your time on it. But I can assure you of the possibility it could be very painful. It could be very, very painful when it rips that from you. Because there's a catalyst. The white rabbit. Not necessarily a great card for an ox person. Though both signs are reserved and they are quite introverted, they could indeed find mutual interests. They could make it work, but there's probably going to be no magic here. There's probably going to be no magic here. And that's what we might find, is that there is no magic here and things do need to change. Doesn't mean you have to run out there and get a divorce. It doesn't mean you have to start having an affair, or, you know, find a replacement, or, you know, leave your marriage of 20 years to live a single life. You don't necessarily have to do that, but things have to change. Again, it's that extra work. If you're not compatible, And that's not to say, and I think people take this as a misconception, or it's a common misconception, where when I say compatible, people believe like you should avoid the other signs that you're not compatible with, but that's not the case. You can work with them if you understand them, if you take the time to hear them and to see the type of person they are. You don't need the Chinese Zodiac to do that. You just need to be like willing to listen, or willing to, you know, put in that effort. And that's all you've got to do, is be willing to put in that effort. You're just going to have less effort with other signs. There will be signs that you're compatible with that take a lot less effort than people that you're not compatible with. And there'll be far less conflicts and problems. So you can make this work. Anybody can make it work, but you need to figure out, is it worth it? Is love enough? Is that comfortability or security enough? Is companionship worth more than your own solitude? That's what you need to work out. What brings you more peace? Because this catalyst moment is coming now. This is change. It's happening. And when it does happen, it's going to come fast, and it's going to happen quickly. And we could see it happen before May's even done, because it's going to just happen. It will break down, and you're not the type to be a fool, and you won't be taken for a fool. And it will become relatively simple for you as you start moving forward, and it will work out better for you in the long run, regardless of if you put in the extra work, because you'll get rewarded for that extra work you put in, or it's not worth it and you choose to leave the situation. You will be rewarded for either eventuality. That's what you need. If you stay there and you don't do anything, that's when problems will start to occur. That's when things are going to start to stagnate and become toxic. We don't need that. Ain't nobody got time for that. And we'll find out how you get on with that next month when we come back and touch on that again. Now we're going to move over to the final three, which is careers, financing, money, etc. If you've made it this far and you haven't got bored yet and it's resonating with you, do me a favor, please hit that like button. Hit that like button so I can see how these new videos are and how you're finding them. Let's move on with the financial things. Things are slow money-wise. Things are slow. See, the pig is a catalyst card. It is a card just like the rabbit that symbolizes change. But what we're looking at here is change, money, change in notes and coins. We're looking at, and what we're looking at is a steady, slow decline in finance. Very temporarily, I think. I don't think it's going to last forever, but what you're used to, it's going to be a bit of a hiccup. Maybe there was something big you had to buy, or some expenditure you didn't expect, or, you know, a car part that needed buying, or you know, something that's taken a little bit of extra cash than it needed to, and it's put you in a bit of a slow place. I mean, this could be as simple as, you know, having to buy a new wheel for the car, or losing your job completely and now having to find a new source of income. But things are going to slow down for you. They are going to slow down, but the ox can be compatible with the boar to a certain degree. There's no big clashes, so there's no real problem there or conflict. So I think this is just a time that you just need to just stay cool, and just float for a little bit. Try and float. No heavy spending, no kind of like unnecessary purchases kind of thing. You don't necessarily have the luxury of indulgence. Not that you practice indulgence anyway. As an ox person, you are usually, or ox people are generally, quite reserved people, and that comes to their money as well, because they're thinkers and they like to think ahead. So the chances are is that you've got some savings put by. You might have found that you're dipping into those a little bit, or you've neglected them entirely, and you should potentially top it up a little bit. You know, add a little bit more to your savings while the sun is out, make hay kind of thing. That pig is going to bring in change, unfortunately. It's not necessarily going to be a good sort of, you know, flow of financial gain, but I do think that it is going to be good for you. Yes, it is. White Rooster. That's probably one of the better cards that you could have got in this situation. Not only is it a positive, but it's also a rooster, which is in your affinity triangle and highly compatible with you, but it's also that king or queen of financial sort of structure. It's coming in, it's coming to help you out just by budgeting, just by moving a few pennies here and there. You may find, even if you're not in a slow sort of financial situation, even if things aren't slow, you may benefit from just putting in a budget and putting some money to one side, just starting to save up for something, or saving that money that you've got surplus, put it to one side. This is a great opportunity for you to do that, because if you can get used to this slow intake of finances, when it picks up again, that surplus, you know, you can live off what you've got. You've worked it out. You know you can work off that amount of money that you've got at this moment in time. As you move forward, you might get a little bit of extra money. Put it in the piggy bank. Put it in the piggy bank. Because that is something that you can have as your rainy day fund. Discipline. That's your superpower. And that rooster's going to help you with that. It's also going to, I think it's also going to blow off a couple of sort of cobwebs and stop you stagnating. It's going to help you put in that extra hard work, because hard work to an ox is not necessarily hard work. What is hard work for everybody else is usually just work to an ox person. So this extra work that you have to do is going to be fairly easy for you to do. You've just got to pull your weight a little bit. You've got to pull your weight a little bit. Try to remain disciplined with it. Try and stick to it. Try and stay on that nice steady line that you're on. There you are. The black ox coming into play. See, the ox and the ox, they make lukewarm kind of compatibility. There's not a great interest, because they're both so introverted. Oxen are quite introverted and not socially sort of, you know, absent, because they're not. But there is no real desire to commit with another ox person. Ox people don't necessarily see the benefit in it, if you like, because they're pretty much the same. They'd literally have a relationship where one person is in one room, the other person is in the other room, and they'd probably never even see each other, apart from maybe sitting down and having dinner, unless they really worked on it. Again, it's a relationship that is more work. But in career and financial situations, we're seeing, just like that black pig, slowing down. We're slowing down. We're not ourselves right now. And if we go back to that very first card, that negative snake, where your head's not necessarily in the right place, it could be because you're not focusing on the financial side of things right now. Your head is maybe off elsewhere, dealing with other things, that you're neglecting a financial aspect of what you're doing, or at least not being yourself, where you would be usually organized, disciplined, and more sort of prone to prevent such things from happening. I don't think this is extra pressure. I don't think this is too much to bear, but I do think it's an extra weight that you are going to have to work hard on to gain the strength to carry it full time, or to lift it off and put it down. Either way, you're going to have to work hard on it. Financially, you can bring this back around, and I think this might actually be the spark that helps you, I suppose, in some ways, remember who you are. And we'll find out if you do remember who you are in June, when we come back and do another reading for you guys born in the year of the ox. My next reading will be for those born in the year of the tiger. So if you're interested in what those guys are up to, I'll see you over there next. Even if, you know, it's a partner, a friend, a family member, roommate, doesn't matter. They could be a tiger. They could be any other sign. So you might be interested to know what those guys are up to, just to prepare yourself for this month. I will see you, if not, next time, when we come back and do another reading for you guys born in the year of the ox. Thank you for watching, guys. If you've enjoyed, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Love and peace.